Welcome. Having been back into the lifting now for 3 months, I'd like to make a video reviewing my progress, listing a few lessons I've learned or remembered in that period. I will also look at a few videos of my lifts and comment on form. And finally, I'll outline my plan for the next 6 weeks, which will take me a good way into August. Let's begin with lessons learned. I need to summarise what I've been doing for the last 8 weeks first. So the squat, the bench press, the deadlift and the overhead press are the core lifts that I use, the 3 power lifts, and the overhead press is an extra, which I think is important. So I base a workout a week around each of those lifts. I also, each workout, do a range of what I would call assistance exercises, which support my progress in the main lifts in terms of strength and size. I can do isolation exercises to target certain muscles, and this tends to be more in the bodybuilding sort of hypertrophy rep range, so I'll go anywhere between 6 and 15, possibly even more for some exercises, so that's a number of reps, just to build size. Now, what I've found over the last 3 weeks is that the way I've been doing or programming my assistance exercises has been taking rather a lot out of me. You might remember that I was doing 3 sets, trying to do 25 reps, and I was trying to push every single set to maybe 1 or 2 reps from failure. What I've decided to do from now on is just still do 3 sets and still aim for 25 reps, but do 8 on the first 2. So I finish them comfortably, and then go AMRAP on the last one, so as many reps as possible. And then if I push beyond 9, then, so greater than 9, then I increase the weight on the bar or on the dumbbell. So that's just a very slight modification, because I found that I wasn't recovering as well as I thought I should be. So in short, I'm going to only go balls to the wall on the final set of the assistance and do the first 2 comfortably. Next, nutrition. It turns out that my target of, I think it was 3,600 calories, wasn't actually enough to stimulate weight gain. So I had to up this. With all the training I was doing and extra cardio I was slipping, and even playing golf now and again, burns more calories than you'd think. I've needed to experiment with this a little bit, and I've got a separate slide to show you in more detail what's been happening. Also, and this is quite a common thing, form. Now I mean exercise form. In the race to try and add weight to the bar, even I, having done this before, neglect form on occasion, and videoing myself, as we'll see, has highlighted that I need to just slow down and really concentrate on doing these exercises, all exercises really, with proper form before trying to pile weight on, because in the long run, that's how I'm going to make sustainable progress. Let's talk progress. Let's start with body weight and nutrition. These 3 graphs, let me explain what they show. They show the 7-day rolling average of the number of calories I eaten per day. And then I've got the body weight 3-day rolling average and the body fat percentage 3-day rolling average. Notice I've only started measuring my body weight and body fat percentage daily, or almost daily, since about the 8th of June. Let's split the top graph up into sections. So up until about perhaps the 14th of May, I was hovering just below 3,500, so perhaps 3,400 calories on average, with a bit of fluctuation. I then increased things, and up to about the 8th of June, I was fluctuating a little bit, you can see here, around 3,500 calories. And up until that point, you'll notice that my weight was round about 90.5. Right up until this point here. So really, I'd not put any weight on in that period. And my body fat percentage really hadn't changed either. I had gained strength, but not body weight. Now, part of the reason that is, I think, is due to the fact that I'm still not actually lifting weights that I've never lifted before. So my body's yet to sort of be shocked into growth. However, I did, around about the 8th of June, think to myself, right, I need to up my calorie intake. So you can see that I've eked up slightly above 3,500. So now I'm actually around about the 4,200 calorie mark. And you can see that my body weight has responded recently to that increased calorie intake. Now, I'm changing my program around a little bit this week from the 30th of June. So I might need to up this further because I'll be doing actually more work and more cardio to maintain that gain. I think the gain that I've been seeing is a little bit on the quick side. I'd aim for more like a pound a week, possibly a pound and a half. The problem is, of course, the training that I'm going to be doing for the next 6 weeks is going to be difficult, and I'm going to need to eat a lot and make sure I'm well over maintenance. So I might end up putting more weight on than I should or could if I was more careful, and then I might need to cut a little bit later in the summer. So that's nutrition, what's been happening so far. As for strength, well, I'll use the old 1 rep max, squat, bench press, deadlift, overhead press. In early April, I was on about 150 kilograms, 100 kilograms, about 160 kilograms, and my overhead press was about 60 kilograms. Since then, I've tested my maxes relatively recently. I hit a 170 squat, I've hit a 110 bench press, which isn't absolute max, but near enough. Deadlift, I hit a 185, and overhead press, I managed to hit 70. Now, these are approaching my previous bests, although they're still not quite there. My previous bests were 180, 112.5, 220, and probably about 80. As I said, up to now, I've managed to regain a lot of my previous strength without adding much body weight. There'll come a point, however, when I need to add more musculature to actually surpass my previous bests. It'll be interesting to see when that is. Next 6 weeks, I am actually going to be adding body weight. But then after that, what I intend to do is, for the rest of the year, eat perhaps a little bit below maintenance or at maintenance for some periods, and try to lose body fat while retaining as much muscle as possible and still gaining strength. Because that is possible, it'll just require a little bit more attention to detail with the tracking and discipline on my part. Video critique time. These are videos of me squatting, deadlifting and bench pressing. What I thought I would do is play each video, and I can pause and annotate these videos if necessary and talk about what is going through my head when I'm setting up and doing the lifts, and what I look at when I'm re-watching my lifts back in order to improve. Let's begin with the squat. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just turn the volume down and talk over it and pause it when I feel it's necessary. So when I set up, the first thing I do is get my feet planted and the right width apart. I turn my toes out a little bit and then grab the bar firmly. If I continue, I then make sure it's placed on sort of my lower traps, and what I do is I take a breath and brace my core. So I tense my core and actually I push out against the belt. Then what I do, I get ready to lift off. So I make sure everything's tight and then lift off. So let me continue playing. And then step backwards, trying to take as few steps adjusting myself as possible. What I do then is take another breath in and then initiate by pushing the hips back and then squatting down. So I'm going to play and then pause at the bottom. Now, squat depth. In a powerlifting context, what you're looking for is for the hip crease, which is where the thigh meets the waist here, to be lower than the front of the knee. So I'm pretty much at parallel. If it was a powerlifting competition, you'd want this point to be below slightly. Okay, so that would be called breaking parallel. Now I will play on the way up. Watch that again. So if I go down, watch again. What I want you to watch, in fact, is the angle that my torso is to the vertical. So what you'll notice on this rep is that my hips come up, my torso sort of angles down this way very slightly, and then on the way up I have to correct and almost do what's called a good morning. It's very slight, it's not too much of an issue. The other one is watch my knees come in very slightly at the start. So let me just rub all this off. So remember, look for the early hip rise, which is fine. The problem is that it happens too early, and then what should really happen is my shoulders and hips should rise at the same time. Okay, but what happens is the hips rise and then the shoulders rise. Just watch. I might play this a couple of times. So watch again. In fact, I might just step through this. So that's down. Then you see the hips go up. It's not too bad on this rep, but you can see the knees go in as well. So watch the knees go in at the beginning there. That's not too bad. You can also see, interestingly, that since I've dislocated my shoulder a few years ago, watch my right and left arms through the rep. Just watch that. Watch specifically what this arm's doing and what that arm's doing, and watch the heights of the elbows. Now, this is partly due, I think, to mobility issues that came as a result of a shoulder dislocation, and which I've been trying to fix over the last week or two. Just watch this. Okay, so at this point you can see this right arm is probably where it should be, actually, strangely, considering that was the one that was dislocated. This one's a little bit high. I would prefer this one to be further down. So you can see there's an imbalance there. It might be due to me not activating my lats appropriately on one side. I've not quite worked out which. It might be this side, in fact. Whether that's due to dislocation issues from like a long time ago, or whether that's just something that there's another reason, I don't know, but it's definitely something that I noticed when I watched this video. Okay, next we've got a bench press. Now this is a double at 105 kilograms. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play the video and again pause and talk through it and annotate it if necessary. Before I play it, what I want you to do is notice my setup. So I've got my hands, they're actually quite narrow looking at this. I might in the future experiment a little bit, bringing them out so my pinky, my little finger's on the ring. This is maybe a little bit too narrow, but let's just bear with it for now. You'll notice that what I do is I grab the bar and then make sure that my weight is on my upper back. So I sort of arch my back, make sure my upper back's planted on the bench, and then put my hips back down. So watch this first bit. So upper back planted, and then I'm ready to take the bar off. So then I take the bar off. What I want you to notice when I continue playing is me retract my shoulder blades and make sure they're pulled together. So my upper back's nice and stable. Just watch this. So what you saw there was I just let the bar sort of sink and I pulled my shoulder blades together. So my back, upper back, nice and stable. It's a really safe, strong position for the shoulders. I'm going to go and play the rest of the video. What I want you to watch is the descent. It obviously touches my chest. I don't pause these reps, but I want you to watch and see if my forearms are now perpendicular to the ground and for that matter, to the bar when I'm at the bottom of the rep. So let's just watch a rep. That's the first one. I'm going to pause it at the second one. Okay, so that's pretty good. You'll notice that actually my forearm's a slight angle. I could fix that by either bringing my grip out a little bit wider, or I could bring my elbows in a little bit, tuck them just a little bit to bring the elbow further this way, and then my hand would stay in the same place, so my forearm would be straighter. It should be clear that if I'm applying a force upwards to the bar, I want my forearm to be vertically underneath it, just mechanically. So let's play the rest of that rep. Okay, then I'll rack it. Okay, that's not so bad. Let's look now at a deadlift. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play this video and then pause it as I set up for the first rep. Okay, so what am I looking at here? I'm looking at, for a relatively flat lower back. I mean, it's hard with the shorts and the t-shirt, but I'm happy with that spinal alignment. What I try and do is keep my upper back tight and draw my shoulder blades back. I'm possibly not doing that as well as I could. It's difficult to see with the t-shirt covering my body. I'm fairly happy with the distance from the looks of it that the bar is from my shins. Let's play the video onwards. Just thinking about this, what I wasn't happy with when I was watching this video was my setup. I wasn't pulling myself tight enough into the bar to start with. What I've been focusing on since is bringing my chest up. So sort of trying to push my chest out a little bit more and actually try and suck my belly button sort of this way just to sort of keep my back in alignment. Also, you'll often hear something referred to as pulling the slack out the bar. Now, with this weight, I think it's about 145, there's not going to be any slack to pull out the bar, really. The bar isn't going to bend at all. But there is going to be slack in my arms and in my joints. So what you want to do is when you set up at the bottom, if I can get to a position at the bottom, wait a minute, here. Yeah, I'm not, you see, not entirely stable there, although this is the last rep of the set, to be fair. So a little bit of work to do on tightness and setup. The other thing I'll notice, and this is again something I've thought about since, is my shoulders are in front of the bar, which they shouldn't be. They should be further this way, and I should be sitting back and tightening up before I actually initiate the pull. Okay, so you see, hopefully, how much there is in just a few video clips when you're talking form. I hope that's been somewhat interesting. It's June the 30th, where to from here? I'm going to change my program up a little bit. I'm going to continue doing a 5-3-1 style routine. I'm going to do one called Building the Monolith. You can Google it, just type in 5-3-1 Building the Monolith. It is going to up the volume, particularly at higher intensity. So rather than doing just a top set of squats, for instance, I'll be doing 5 sets of 5 at fairly heavy weight. So I think the first workout will be 5 sets of 5 at 140, which in terms of volume is something I've not been doing up to now. I'll also be working multiple, both lower and upper body every workout. I'm going to be doing 3 workouts a week. So high volume. Even the first workout has me doing 100 to 200 push-ups and 100 lat pull-downs, like 100 reps of everything. I think 450 total reps of assistance work. So it will require more recovery time, 3 workouts a week, lots of food to recover. So I'll be pushing up the nutrition. The minimum I've put into MyFitnessPal as a target is 3,800, but I'll basically add on 500 calories for every bit of cardio I do, be that tennis, golf, conditioning. So in reality, I'll be eating between 4,000 and 5,000 calories a day, I would imagine, on this program. It'll be interesting to see what effect that has on my body weight. Targets my body weight. Well, I'll be doing this program for 6 weeks. So this is going to take me through July up to mid-August. So I aim to finish on about the 20th, 21st of August. I will watch my body weight carefully. Once I start getting above 93, I might start easing off the calories as long as I can recover well enough. But I'm fully prepared for this 6 weeks, particularly given this building the monolith insanity. I will be, I don't know where the name came from. I might just carry on eating 4,000 to 5,000, even if I end up going beyond 93 kilograms. It's very likely indeed. Targets, strength. Well, at the end of this, I probably won't test my maxes. I will probably have 10 to 12 days off when I go to Ireland for a little bit on holiday, and then come back and then go back into 5-3-1, more conventional workout mode. I would hope after 6 weeks that if I were to test, this is a complete estimate, that I would be 180, 190 squat, 117.5 maybe bench press, deadlift. I could probably pull 200 in 6 weeks. I might even be able to do it now. An overhead press, possibly 75. So I probably won't test these at the end of 6 weeks, but I'll have a fair idea, I think, of how much strength I'll have gained. I might be able to work out what my maxes should be. Very quickly, during this building the monolith period, I'll be doing more conditioning. So I'll be doing sled drags, which are kind of high intensity, nice short interval sessions. And I'll do hill sprints. And what I'll do is I'll ramp up the difficulty and length of these over the course of 6 weeks. So I'm not going to be doing long, steady state cardio because running, for one, is not going to work if I'm squatting and deadlifting this much. I might supplement this with tennis, golf, and also I've been swimming in the river, which is, you know, nice non-load bearing, but quite nice gentle cardio activity. I hope that was useful. I will probably make another of these in about 6 weeks.